Welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining me on this video titled Power Virtual Agent and Dynamics 365 Copilot. My name is Craig Kreskes. I am a cloud solution architect at Microsoft. I'm excited to bring you the latest training and information on how to get started with Dynamics 365 Copilot and all of our Dynamics 365 apps, and that includes Power Platform. This video I'm going to be focused on Power Virtual Agent, and I'll show you quickly how to create a trial if you don't already have one. We'll create a new bot, and then we'll test the bot, and then we'll create a topic inside with Copilot, and then I'll conclude with all the resources that I had at my disposal in order to record this video and get trained. So let's begin by first showing you how to create a trial if you don't already know how to do that, or if you don't already have one. But essentially, you just navigate out to the Power Virtual Agent homepage. From there, you'll just select Start Free and sign in. Then you'll click on Get Started, and then you'll name your bot and also the language. So those are the two options. So I'll name my bot Microsoft, and then I will create that bot. Now this takes just a couple of seconds, maybe 10, 15, 20 seconds. Once it's done, you'll be presented with your environment and you're up and running. Now just a quick caveat, again, this is in preview. I did come across a couple of error messages, primarily focused here on the environment. So for me to get around it, all I did was click on the environment. I chose a different environment, and then I reselected this one, and I was fine. So again, at the time of the recording, obviously this is still in preview. So if you do come up with an error message, there's a quick fix to circumvent that. All right, so we have our trial environment. Let's get started and go ahead and create our virtual agent, our bot. Up at the top, you'll see here where I can create a bot. I can do it on the left navigation pane. I'll create the bot. And then what I want you to do, because we're going to focus on this preview experience, is we'll try the unified canvas. Follow the screen prompts. I'll select continue. And again, you need to name your bot. I'm going to just keep it consistent. I'm going to call it Microsoft. Now, when designing and creating a chatbot, you'll likely encounter some scenarios where your bot users are going to ask questions that the chatbot doesn't have an answer for. However, by utilizing these boosted conversations in Power Virtual Agents, you can have your bot find and present information from an external source, even if you haven't created the topic yet. So again, in a little bit of a history in the past, if you didn't have, when you were creating a bot, it couldn't determine the user's intent, and you needed to create phrases. And if after 2 or 3 prompts, the bot still couldn't determine the user's intent, it would be escalated to a live agent. So in this scenario, we're going to go ahead and enter in a website. And again, this demo is really well, so as you're preparing for a prospect meeting or a customer, entering their URL, their website, it'll show you how you can leverage this experience. Select Create. Again, that bot takes a couple of seconds to build. And then you can see here just some of the new features. Again, remember this still is in preview at the time of this recording. Where you can elevate your message, and then also how to expand some of these capabilities with the Power FX expressions. All right, so now we've got our bot. Now let's go ahead and explore it and test it out just a little bit. Now again, the traditional navigation, if you're familiar with Power Virtual Agent, right, we always included in the sample, you can go ahead and close this card for now, sample topics, right? So all of the different phrases for goodbye, greetings, and this is what got us started. And then you'd put in, again, trigger phrases, and then you'd have to build your flow manually. So let's go ahead and, as an example, test our bot here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in a message. So it says, hey, hello, Microsoft, how can I help you? Now, because I'm going to say, what is the latest Surface laptop? And it seems to be the easiest way to show this off to a prospect is, again, having their website loaded. I type in enter. Now it reaches out to Bing and summarizes the most relevant results for me, especially or essentially uses the bot to assess what is on the website. And it provides a link to it as well. So again, I didn't have to create any topic or trigger phrases. This is all generated by entering that URL or the website. I'll type in something a little bit more, detailed, like what is Microsoft's approach to responsible AI? And you'll see here again, it's crawling out, using Bing and the APIs to go out and bring in this information back into the results for that end user. And then I could ask even something a little more complex about, for example, how do I host a database in Azure? Notice there I get information about how to host a database in Azure with a link, but then there's also information about training days that are upcoming. So it provides a link to another area on the page. And then just for grins, I thought I'd ask, what's the difference, or how does Dynamics 365 Sales compare to one of our competitors? So again, it's going out and looking at information on that website and procures the results back to that end user through the bot. So let's go ahead and close that test. I just wanted to show you again some of the changes just by exploring that. Next, we'll create a topic within Copilot. So again, the first scenario is where we just entered in the website URL and without having to do manual setup. Next, let's take a look at how the authoring becomes a lot easier with Copilot inside of Power Virtual Agent. Again, very historically, you would go ahead and add a new topic, but in this case, we're going to create it with Copilot. So I'll name my topic. So I'm going to use just natural language to build out this topic. So that is going to be, let's get a user to connect on a refund for their order ID. And I'll call this topic order refund. Again, I'll go ahead and create that. It'll take a moment to build. We'll go ahead and just select allow. And now again, anybody who has had experience with Power Virtual Agent can see how simple this was, or to begin, and gave me a baseline, a base flow to get started, right? It's taking care of the tasks such as trigger phrases. So if I wanted to edit those trigger phrases, I can edit that on the right side here. I could select my question. See, I could edit the questions and the flow that the bot and the user takes. And I can edit that here within Copilot. So not only does it give me a baseline, but now notice that Copilot is still part of the experience here in editing this flow. So all I need to do is type in what it is I want to do next. So in this case here, I say, let's add another question asking the user, how should that refund be processed, either with a payment or a gift card? And now again, that saves the topic. It knows where to put it in the flow right here at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and delete this final message that was originally in our flow. So here you can see how I would like that refund to be, either original payment or gift card. Again, I can add a little bit more. In this case here, and do one more step. Instead of adding that summary message, after the conversation concludes, I want to add a summary to the conversation by presenting an adaptive card. So I type in the responses in an adaptive card. I select update. And at the time of this recording, again, still in preview, but you can see that it's got a media placeholder for now. But if I select that, I can still see the JSON code that's behind the card. And again, we'll go ahead and test that bot in just a moment. So here you can see the JSON code behind the adaptive card designer. Make sure you save your work. That'll take, again, a second just to save. And then we need to go ahead and test our bot once more based on the changes that we made. So again, you could test the bot in the bottom left corner. You can test your bot up in the top right, as I've got it kind of pointing. Let's go ahead and refresh our bot. We'll clean up from the last test conversation just so we can see those changes. So again, you're going to type in your message. So I want a refund. So then it follows the logical flow here. It says, what is your order number? The end user puts in the order number, asks, what's the reason for the refund? Not what I expected. Here is where, again, I inserted the logic about how we want to process the refund. And then once that's selected, you get the adaptive card to summarize the conversation. So I want to share with you again just some resources, the resources that I used to get started. There were a couple of videos, but mostly I focused on here, which is on the docs.microsoft.com under Power Virtual Agents. A wealth of resources, just how to get started and how to make edits and changes. So if you want any additional training beyond what I provide in this video, I would encourage you to explore those documents. Again, I started with showing you how to create a trial. We created a new bot, we tested it, and then we created a topic and tested those results as well. I want to thank you all so much for your investment and desire to learn more about Dynamics 365 Copilot and how it integrates and works inside of Power Virtual Agent. I've provided a link to our current calendar for all enablement events. I want to thank you again so much for your time. I look forward to seeing you on a video real soon.